Hola y bienvenidos a Supercast Bros. Soy Jonathan, también conocido como Jonno.
I'm the dirty, ignorant American who doesn't not know what a word was just said, and you can call me Zantok or Lister, whichever one. I don't really care right now. Hi.
Yes. Hello, my friend. Welcome to our podcast for the sixth time over. How are you feeling today?
Confused like last time? I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. How are we still doing these? How are people still listening? I'm confused.
I don't know, but I'm happy that they're still listening, and I'm happy we're still recording, and I'm happy that we're on our second Smasher Dash episode. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. But before we get into that, you may recall that we had a tiebreaker at the end of our first episode of Smasher Dash.
We did. I was
Hmm.
stuck on Balloon Fighter, and you on the Mach Rider.
Yes, sir. And I do have results. For a while, it was a little sketchy because we had people reaching out over multiple different services, and I had to collect all those. And for a while, we just had a tiebreaker in our tiebreaker.
Oh God.
We had Balloon Fighter and Mach Rider were gridlocked seriously until a couple of days ago. So, with that said, approaching the tally, uh, if anyone wants to give a drum roll in their hearts or their minds, they can. Thank you. The winner of the tiebreaker is Mach Rider.
By what? What's the vote distribution?
The vote distribution are there were 7 votes, and there were 4 for Mach Rider and 3 for Balloon Fighter.
All right. Here's the
Hmm.
funny thing about that though. A few days after we recorded that episode, I was thinking about it a little more. By a few days, I mean like it might have been like a week or two later. I was actually thinking about it. And I
Hmm.
was like, you know what? Maybe if I think about it, maybe I do go Mach Rider on this.
Why? Why is that?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't really have a solid reason. Just thinking about it in my mind, I was
Hmm.
like, okay, a lot of the balloon fighter I was thinking of was my own personal bias. I'm thinking about playing as the characters. I think I'll get a lot more frustrated playing as Balloon Fighter than I would playing as Makar. Like, I love Mega Man
Yeah.
and Smash. I love that he's there. I'm so happy about it. I hope he never leaves Smash. But god
Hmm.
damn, is he frustrating to play as? Same with
Yeah,
Duck
agreed.
Hunt. I was wishing Duck Hunt please be our retro rep for Smash 4. Please, you're the one that I want the most. And we got Duck Hunt. But I hate how he plays. So much.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Balloon Fighter would definitely be a technical character. And you pitched a lot of your makeup in your argument for Balloon Fighter from your very technical Smashtopia moveset.
He's very
So,
resource management heavy.
hmm hmm it would be kind of Olimar, kind of Mega Man, but in the end, I would love for him to be in the game. And funnily enough, when we were going between Mach Rider and Balloon Fighter, I did have that bias towards Mach Rider, but I tried to really lean into Balloon Fighter 2 because it would have been that tribute to Wada, as we are saying, and Balloon Fighter is just a really uh, just speaks to the classic era of the NES more than Mach Rider. I think like Balloon Fighter is more ubiquitous,
Yes,
and
definitely.
so and he just has a classic design. Like it's charming to look at, simple, would fit in Smash really well, and I think that he really deserves to have a spot in Smash. And you prove that he can work. So kudos to you on that. I would enjoy Balloon Fighter in the game, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy Mach Rider won.
Naturally, of course.
Yeah. So and Kelly brought up a good point too. I think some of the bias and definitely some of the popularity that Mach Rider has had in recent times
Grinch Lake.
comes from the Grinch League. Yeah, because it's just kind of toss Mach Rider on in there. It's
Did
like,
you know?
oh,
It's been as of like when we're recording this now. It's like just been just barely over a year since Grinch Lake.
oh man,
Yeah.
yeah, that was, and we still don't really know how it all went down, and probably never will.
No, we won't.
So,
Considering that
um,
would probably get legal issues involved if that ever came out. All, all,
mhm.
all the details and intense things that they went with that. It's the most
Hmm.
well-crafted leak of all time, in my opinion.
And considering, yeah, I agree, and considering that that Grinch asset was leaked and was real, that was bizarre.
Yeah,
So it almost makes you think the leaker works at Illumination.
I mean,
Um,
they also had the whole little bit about how, hey, look, this we have evidence in here that's connecting to a real person that works in merchandising on LinkedIn with the companies
yeah,
associated with Grinch and Smash. It's like, what the fuck?
maybe Grinch will be fighter number 5.
Nah, nah.
Okay,
We
okay.
all know that fighter number 5 is going to be our own Nadia.
I would be okay with that. I thought you were going to say Chucky Finster and just keep this on a 3 episode streak, but I
Nope.
appreciate that. Could be, could
I
be.
real
Yeah.
talk. I have no idea right now who is fighter number 5. There's a
Oh
lot
no,
of great options, and I think whoever it is going to be, we're gonna enjoy.
I agree. I agree. It's an exciting time. Speculation is just kind of the Wild West right now. There's no say really leading in any direction. Like just
Well,
colloquial wisdom would say Doom Guy.
there
But
certain people are making indication that they know who it is, but they're not
mhm,
revealing the name yet. So it seems like it's known
interesting.
to certain individuals, but whether it's because they're not confident enough yet in their information, or they just won't
Hmm.
they want to hold off for a little to protect their source, who knows? But
Yep.
I don't think it'll be that
Yeah.
long before we really know.
No. In fact, we're talking about it. It might be before this episode goes up.
That's possible.
um. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Um. I don't know who it's going to be at all, but I know who I want it to be, and I think we can agree on this. Gino Give.
Gino, give. Never gonna happen though. Not for this one. Not
Hopefully
this
with
character
those
slot.
yeah, yeah, I know. Well, hopefully there's still hope. There is still hope. Okay. Well, without further ado though, Smasher Dash Part 2?
Episode.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Well,
Supercast
episode 2.
Brothers Episode 6. Smasher Dash Tetra versus Ganon.
You beauty. Yes, sir. I guess I'll dive into the history of Tetra a little bit before we begin.
Please
Uh
do. Regale us with the first of these two Zelda possibilities.
yes, sir. I am excited to jump into Zelda. We've covered Mario with Waluigi, we've covered Pokemon with Gengar. Now we can give the other one of the big three their fair shake. And probably my personal favorite series of the three. Um, Wind Waker was one of my first Zelda games because, as you know, I'm a baby.
That's true.
So it was so I was what 8 years old at the time, I think 2003. Yeah, yeah, like third grade. So I really did not have that blowback. I didn't experience the blowback that older people were having towards Wind Waker at the time for the cell shaded graphics, which is funny because now it's become such a timeless design, and people constantly go back to Wind Waker and praise it for that, as opposed to uh, tearing it apart. Nevertheless, though, Tetra is the leader of her pirate gang. I believe that the only name they've ever officially had were Tetra's Pirates. I mean, that's a little on the nose, but I guess it's to the point. Um, and I think that before we go any further, we should say that there is a possibility that I mean these games are Wind Waker's over 15 years old, but there's still the possibility that you haven't played it, and it's such an iconic game that we just need to say there might be spoilers. There might be spoilers for Wind Waker or other titles in the Zelda series, so you might want to watch out.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty much spoilers for the Zelda franchise at whole moving forward. Although, specifically, uh, Wind Waker, obviously, Link to the Past coming up, and
mhm.
probably Ocarina of Time or classic Zelda. Just,
Yeah,
if you care, maybe wait on this one.
yeah, and I would say a little bit of Phantom Hourglass too, for sure, because Tetra is a little relevant there still. So in Wind Waker, though, that's where the crux of her story comes out. Oh, you're working with Tetra throughout the games. He helps you break into the Forsaken Fortress near the beginning of the title. After the Helm Rock King is sent by Ganon to kidnap all of the young blonde girls throughout What remains if Hyrule across the Great Sea. At the very start of the game, Tetra teams up with you. Her and her pirate group take you to the Forsaken Fortress, shoot Link out in a barrel in one of the greatest sequences of all time, into the Forsaken Fortress to find the Helmerach King and to find Ganondorf, and try to save his sister. Over time, all of that eventually happens. Well, with spoilers. And at the same time, Tetra's true identity is revealed. She is the current incarnation of Zelda. Oh my
A
gosh!
third Zelda
Shock!
character? What?
Yeah, shock and awe. And at the end of the game, after everything has happened, with basically in the epilogue, she chooses to journey off with Link into lands unknown and keep her identity as Tetra because that's what she identifies with more and has become more comfortable with. So her and the pirates and Link set off, and that's where Phantom Hourglass kicks off, with the ghost ship and all. But she is a really awesome iteration of Zelda who is very headstrong and is a pirate. So what more is there to say? Great character.
The only thing I would add to that is for those unaware, Tetra is the Zelda for Toon Link.
Mm-hmm.
Toon Link's design coming straight from Wind Waker, so it would really be. So we would in effect have two reps from the Wind Waker game, or at least like Wind Waker / Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah.
Which I really don't see a problem with. Zelda is a huge franchise.
Agreed.
And they can always change other characters' looks however the hell they want.
Yeah, I do think it's more important here that Tetra herself is a unique enough character to include as opposed to just being another Zelda. Like she kind of steps over that line a little bit.
It's not like having, oh hey look, another Link. It's more like, hey look, this is.
Are you there?
Well, Toy Link, Wolf Link, Wild Link, whatever the heck. But with the Tetra, it's more like, yeah, it's Zelda, but it's Zelda being a pirate. Just like Sheik is, yeah, it's Zelda, but it's Zelda being a ninja. Whereas it's Link, but it's Link.
Mm-hmm. 3 times over, it's Link.
Yeah, they really. One of my biggest wishes moving forward with Smash is please differentiate the Links better. And I don't just mean design. Like, let Toon Link use the tools that he's known for. Let Young Link use the tools that he's known for. Let Base Link or whatever new design he's going to be based off of the next one, let them use the tools more associated with them. When Brawl Link had the Gale Boomerang, I was like, awesome, great. He differentiates him from the other Links. And then Toon Link didn't even have Fire Bow that Young Link had. It's like, seriously?
Agreed. And fire arrows are in Wind Waker, so that was kind of dubious.
Yeah. And now we've got no more Gale Boomerang for regular Links. Like, god damn it. Seriously.
I agree. Make Young Link Master Link for all I care.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
that's the dream.
Much like how Tetra would be another Zelda rep, on the other side of the coin we have Ganon, who would be another Ganondorf rep. For those of you like myself who are not super involved in the Zelda franchise, maybe you played 1 or 2 of them, probably Breath of the Wild, that's the only one I've really put serious time into. You may not know that Ganondorf wasn't originally Ganondorf. We only first saw Ganondorf in his human form in Ocarina of Time. We heard about him before then, but that was the very first time we ever saw the humanoid version of the character, who is a male member of the Gerudo race, which is strange because there's only one male born every 1,000 years, which really makes you wonder, how are the Gerudos still a race? It's not a question I really care to think about much. Point being, way back before Ocarina of Time ever existed, we had Ganon. Not Ganondorf, but just Ganon. And Ganon has always looked like, well, to be blunt, a pig beast. Not quite the beast you might be familiar with in Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess, where it was known as Dark Beast Ganon. It's like this giant, hulking, quadrupedal thing. Instead, it was a bipedal, very large, blue fur, pig-faced tusks, snout, That was the Ganon of the original Zelda. Zelda
Hmm.
1, Adventure of, or A Link to the Past, the
Yeah.
Oracle games,
Hmm.
Four Swords Adventure, Link Between Worlds.
Link's
What's the
Awakening.
second? Link's Awakening. What's the second one called? Uh,
Adventure of Link.
Adventure of Link. Thank you.
Hmm.
And according to this, it also says that he's in regular Wind Waker, but I don't know that that's true. You'd have to tell me about that.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. It's just for some reason it lists him under Wind Waker. I don't know why that
I
is.
think it's, if anything, it's a cameo. I can't recall off the top of my head.
That's fair.
Hmm.
The design in question for Pig Ganon, as I tend to call him, is I envision it more coming off of the A Link to the Past version, where he's got his trident in hand. It's got like a little skull motif on it. He's big, he's blue, he's furry, and it looks like one swing of his punch would just knock you out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. A Link to the Past was such a heavily influential title in the series, and influenced so many other top down 2D adventure games for a long time coming. So to pull that Ganon out, especially when he appeared in that iteration twice,
Yep.
with between that and the Link Between Worlds, is a good way to go. So you're thinking more like the official artwork of that, because I'm looking at it right now, and that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, the
Pretty cool.
official artwork for Link to the Past Ganon is what I tend to imagine when I think of how this character could look in Smash.
Hmm.
Like, I'm trying to bring it up right this second. Oh, cool! I got completely different image. Yeah, okay, maybe not that artwork. There's here we go, the big furry artwork. He's got like these
Hmm.
big red pauldrons on with spikes coming off the
Yeah.
sides of
Yeah.
him. Nice red cape, some good armor on his front. A basic looking trident, in all honesty. But oh, actually, apparently this art I'm looking at is from the Oracle games. Huh. Well, I've
Oh
had
yeah.
that
Yeah.
wrong this whole time, apparently. I thought that was the Link to the Past game. My
If you want
bad.
to pull it from the Oracle games, you always can, or you can always just pull a Ridley slash Meta Ridley thing and just kind of pull between designs a little bit. Since A Link to the Past is pretty reminiscent of his original appearance, just updated a few notches.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think, yeah.
In a state of realism, I think that's exactly what would happen with Ganon being part of the Smash. I don't think he would necessarily look like any one design because any of the one designs would be a bit of a rough translation into 3D Smash.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you get the
Agreed.
design, like I'm looking at the official art now for Link to the Past, that one coming to Smash directly off that art, nah, no thank you, no thank you. It just doesn't work too well. But if they do more
Hmm.
like a mishmash of his different designs, kind of like what they've done with Snake, where he's more of a combination of regular Solid Snake and Big Boss, that could work. And I
Yeah.
think there's and
Hmm.
Link himself is like that. There's a couple other characters I think they're a bit more composite like that as well. Ganon would
Agreed.
work best in that regards. But his whole
Yeah.
character is basically like he born a member of the Gerudo, but he has this other form to him, which is what you see a lot, and I believe it's the Destroyed timeline. I think like he
I
appears a
think
lot
so.
in that timeline. I'm trying to look at it now.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Downfall timeline, which is where in Ocarina of Time Link fails.
Hmm.
Like not even the child timeline or the adult timeline, but it's the timeline where Link screwed up and he died. Ganon won.
Hmm.
That's the timeline that kicks off Link to the Past, the Oracle games, Link's Awakening, Link Between Worlds, and original Legend of Zelda and the Adventure Link. All of those feature this Pig Ganon as the enemy, not Ganondorf, just the Pig Ganon.
Hmm.
So it's a huge part of the franchise's history. Whereas
Hmm.
Tetra is like this, um, is an incredibly important piece to Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass. Pig Ganon itself covers an entire third plus of the franchise.
Yeah. That he does. That he does. Um, so approaching this angle of Tetra versus Ganon, just straight away, Ganon does have that home field advantage of having far more iconicity to the overall franchise than Tetra. Um, and he's been around a lot longer. on the overall, more people probably know his name and his look, even though Modern Testament would have it that we haven't seen Pig Ganon in this iteration all that much in recent years. Um,
No, really, just Breath of the Wild, or not Breath of the Wild,
mm-hmm,
dumbass. Link Between Worlds. I mean, we've technically seen Pig Ganon in Breath of the
mm-hmm,
Wild and in Twilight Princess, but it was actually Dark Beast Ganon, where he looks more just like a gigantic, mindless beast.
yeah, yeah, and
Quadruped
he
just
takes
running
on.
around. That's all it does.
Mhm,
Like, cool, awesome. That's not the
yeah,
Ganon we know.
yeah, and it's not the not even the kind of Ganon that appears as the final boss in Ocarina of Time. Not the same thing exactly.
Yeah, and
So
even the Ganon in that game, it's really just Phantom Ganon.
mhm. So Tetra, to her credit, she is a notable character in the franchise, and I think, just she would be very warmly received just on that basis of, even though she's another Zelda, she would be more akin to Sheik, where you're playing as Sheik and you're not actively thinking, "Oh yeah, this is just another Zelda." Like you're thinking, "Oh, this is just another Link." So people would grasp onto that, and I think one thing that people are really looking for out of their Zelda characters now is individuality, where
Yeah,
people are even hoping for one-shot characters like Skull Kid, just because that they're iconic to the series and they like Tetra is, and would offer something different than three links that are semi-clones of each other.
yeah. That's
Uh,
the
yeah.
uh, franchise as a whole. A lot of people point to Metroid and prior to Ultimate Donkey Kong, but
Hmm.
Zelda is a franchise in Smash that really is not represented the way it should be. I don't
No,
have a problem
no,
with
it's not.
having multiple links if they fight differently, but
Hmm.
we had no new Zelda reps in Ultimate. Well, yet there could still be one coming as DLC. Who knows? None
Hmm.
in Smash Four, and in Brawl, yeah, we got Toon Link at the cost of Young Links. Was like, did we really get a new character? I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
but also no, we didn't.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
like it's like Sakurai thinks that, oh, it needs to be one that has multiple appearances. We don't I don't really think he thinks that way, but he's
Hmm.
prioritizing other franchises. It's like, dude, please give Zelda something. You don't have to have a character
Agreed.
that's been in a lot of the games like Impa. It can be Skull Kid, it can be Vati, it can be Tetra, it can be Tingle. God, why? No, please not that one.
Midna. It could be
Midna.
Midna.
It
How
could be
about
Midna.
yeah?
It could
It could be a
even
coup.
it could even be Lana from Hyrule Warriors.
Hmm. It could be Groose or Linkle or the what's
Can't
his
remember
name?
now, actually.
Hestu. Could
Oh
be
God,
Hestu.
no.
It could be Uncle Rapigi. It could be
All right,
Epona.
all right, all right.
Okay. Um, but honestly, approaching this from the angle, it's hard to really. Tetra is a very strong character. I would love it if she were in the game. But for me, it's just difficult to approach this and give her a fair shake when Ganon already has so much over her. And honestly, is just so much more of a character that I've personally wanted for such a long time. Um, so because you can approach Ganon from that same angle as Tetra. It's he is Ganondorf, but he is this totally other bestial form of Ganondorf. Like Ganondorf has won, he has fully seized the power of the Triforce and become this total embodiment of evil that
Yeah,
is Pig Ganon. And it's so I would love Tetra in the game. Tetra's a character dear to my heart, with Wind Waker being one of the first Zelda games that I really put my feet into. Got my feet wet with the franchise, but Ganon would be badass. I if I'm choosing it from here, I would probably opt for Ganon. Those are my thoughts anyway.
I do not deny that Ganon would be badass.
Hmm.
However, I don't think Tetra would be any worse of a choice.
Oh
Honestly,
no.
if I'm looking at things as far as like who are the best Zelda reps to be added to Smash, Ganon's up
Hmm.
there, and I think Tetra is too. The only
Agreed.
problem with Tetra is that without looking at Hyrule Warriors, there's not much to really pull from directly from the source material for what she can do. I mean, we
Hmm.
know she has a cutlass. She's got a flintlock pistol
Mm-hmm.
that shoots apparently water
Mm-hmm.
bullets, I guess. Sure,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. That makes sense in some way, I'm sure, somehow. But, so it's basically it's like, okay, so we've got Zelda, but with a gun and a sword. Oh
Mm-hmm.
no, more enemy sword fighters. Woo! Shut up. Shut up. All of
Yeah.
you people go
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's what you do. Here's what you do with Tetra. First of all, pull from Hyrule Warriors. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, but second of all,
Mm-hmm.
lean in hard to the pirate design.
Agreed.
That's what she is. She's a pirate. It's like, yeah, there
Mm-hmm.
might not be a lot of source material, but there is a lot of pirate history and other pirate media that you can pull from to really build on Tetra as a character. Well, well, maybe not Pirates of the Caribbean.
Maybe you can get her dragon killing ballista.
Okay, no, definitely not. I can't remember his name now because I hate him so much.
Euron Greyjoy.
Euron Greyjoy. Screw Euron Greyjoy. First of all, second of all, screw Euron Greyjoy. God damn, what an awful waste of space. But yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to always. You don't have to always pull from the source material to make most step for a character. I know that's the primary thing that I do when I'm making things, but sometimes you take a template, you take a concept, you take something historical, and it's like, okay, this character is pirate. They don't do much in the game, but they pirate. Make them
Mm-hmm.
pirate. Go
Yeah.
hard. Let them go nuts with the cutlass. Let them be firing off things with the flintlock pistol. Give them a damn anchor. Let them use a cannon for something. You can go so interesting with a pirate fighting style. I don't know if she fights actually in Wind Waker. Obviously, she doesn't in Hyrule Warriors. I don't know if they actually based any kind of real fighting style off her. But
Mm-hmm.
analyze, or maybe analyze probably the wrong, but like research how pirates have typically fought in medias or history. Give her that swagger fighting style. It would look so good. I want it.
It would. It would.
And even if we don't get Tetra as a pirate one day, hey, you know what? Captain Syrup, there's other pirates. Nintendo, please give me a
Mm-hmm.
goddamn pirate in Smash.
Pirate Jigglypuff. Um,
Mm,
yeah, that's true. And because you're touching on moveset potential too, I wanted to loop back into something we did on Smashtopia, the wiki a while ago. Collaborated on the Ganon and Ganondorf movesets.
we did.
So for Ganon, what we had for we're kind of going for the balloon fighter rundown real quick here. Uh, Ganon standard special. He leans into his classic nature as a character, so we're putting a lot of credence into A Link to the Past and Zelda One with this kind of move set, and I think that stands true to the design. So we're good. So standard special is summoning fire keys, and we pull from the boss battles a lot too. And uh, let's see, with its trident raised, 3 fiery orbs will surround themselves around Ganon's body. These orbs can be used as a defensive measure, blocking melee and projectile attacks. And over a certain amount, with the second press of the special button, the fireballs will turn into fire keys, and then they'll fly forward, similar in a sense to Mega Man's down special, which I can't recall the name of right this second.
Leaf Tornado.
Yeah,
No,
Leaf
Leaf
Tornado.
Shield. What the hell
Leaf
did I get
Shield.
Leaf Tornado from? Leaf Shield. Wow.
Yep. Side special might not sound that exciting at first, but remember, it's a trident toss, but remember that we're the same guys who get really excited over King K. Rool throwing a crown.
Oh my god.
Uh, so he'll get into a launching position similar to like how a soldier in Fire Emblem will toss a javelin, and he'll give his trident a mighty throw, and it'll swirl forward in a circular motion, and go in that arc forwards and backwards back towards him, in a sense similar to how he tosses it in A Link to the Past. Let's see. It can also be shifted around a 180-degree axis, like Pit's arrow, so you can toss it forwards, upwards, or downwards in a diagonal arc. So it offers itself well to a strategizing basis defensive move. Up special shockwave jump, similar to King Day to Day. He jumps up into the air. You can send him here or there, and then he jumps down. send a shockwave forward, similar to like how Ike or the Black Knight will send shockwaves from their legendary swords and Fire Emblem. Uh, that will move forward a little bit, and if they can be sunken into the ground if they're hit by the shockwave, travels out maybe a Kirby and a half or so. Uh, he can summon lightning with his down special, tossing his cape in one direction, twirling it over his shoulder, and keeping it lifted while he cackles delightfully. And then lightning will come crashing down in front of him, and it'll have a slight diagonal trajectory, so that way it'll be different from Pikachu's enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that twirling it over his shoulder and cackling. That is so classic and so drawn from the titles that I'm excited about that. Final Smash is summoning his army. We have Ganondorf is and Ganon and Ganondorf are both of the same character, so of course, but they're in charge of this great army of darkness and evil that that you never really see fully mobilized in a singular area in the games, like helping him out, except for Hyrule Warriors, of course. So this would be taking advantage of that, and having Moblins fly forward onto the stage, like a run of the bulls, where they're making contact with throwing spears at opponents, and just moving forward in a way that can get them trapped in their path. And that's Ganon. Honestly, now that you frame Tetra with pulling from pirate material, that's to her benefit. Pulling from all of these separate pirate-based medias and pulling from Hyrule Warriors will give her an incredible basis to develop a phenomenal moveset off of. Ganon, great moveset for what it is, but you know that we're pulling from the classic Zelda games for a classic Zelda character. And if we didn't make this moveset that is partially derivative of many other characters, then there wouldn't have been a whole lot more to go off of for the design.
To her credit with that moveset as well, it wasn't just a
Mm-hmm.
moveset of Pig Ganon itself. It was a
Mm-hmm.
Zelda Sheik like moveset that would swap between Ganondorf and Pig Ganon with the utilization
Mm-hmm.
of the extra skill.
Yeah, yeah, it was. And if we're taking extra skills into account, then that's a good benefit. Or even just nixing something like lightning and making that a down special in Smash proper if they were to bring back transformations one day, which I'm not really sure if they ever will.
Yeah. Honestly,
Um,
if we're talking about reality of Smash, so no extra skill involved, and
mhm.
Pig Ganon is his own character distinct from Ganondorf, or is a transformation, either or. I could see the lightning move as the final Smash.
That could be true too. Could be true too. Um, but I think I don't know. Are there any other points you'd like to make regarding Tetra or Ganon at this time? And just
The only thing I would say in regards to both of them is that both of these characters are huge to the Zelda franchise. Yes,
Mhm.
Tetra is only in two of the games, not counting spin-offs like Hyrule Warriors, but she has a huge impact. She's popular. She's a pirate, and
Mhm.
she is Zelda. So technically, she's always been around. It's just this is one incarnation of her. Meanwhile, with
Mhm.
Pig Ganon, Ganon Ganondorf, unlike the Links and Zeldas who are reincarnated every so often, it's always been the same Ganondorf. It's
Mhm.
always been the same character. He's more or less a reincarnation of Demise from Skyward Sword, assuming I'm
Mhm.
recalling that correctly. But after
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
reincarnation, it has always been the same character, living for thousands upon thousands of years, sometimes being imprisoned in the sacred realm or being killed and then being revived later. But it's still the same person
Mhm.
all the time. And it's
Yeah.
just depending
Yeah.
on what form they're in, what their plot is, what attacks they have. I think, typically speaking, Pig Ganon usually has around the same attacks as itself in each of its appearances. But
Mhm.
if I'm honest, like I said before, the only Zelda game I put serious hours into was Breath of the Wild. So I
Yeah.
can't really answer that for certain. But
No, you're right.
either one of these characters, I would be more than happy to have in Smash. I'd love both,
Mhm.
but with Smash or Dash, we can only pick one.
Yeah, I would love both myself. I agree with all of what you said to wrap up. Don't have a whole lot else to add myself. So I think we're kind of coming to this point where the apex of the matchup. Maybe we should make our decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who should go first?
I are you in the middle? Are you wavering, or do you have your lane?
I would say that I am wavering a little bit, but I have my lane.
Okay, I'll go ahead and go first then.
Hmm.
While I would love to have both of these characters, well, one of them I would say I want a lot more, partly because of who they are, partly because of the move set, but largely because, goddamn, if we can have two Zeldas and three Links, then we can have two Ganondorfs. So give me pick Ganon.
There's not going to be another tiebreaker this time around. I
Oh,
choose Big Ganon too.
all right. What's your reasoning?
Hmm. Just the honestly, it's nostalgia primarily. I mean, I can admit I'm biased towards the character because if we're saying that Tetra has all of this moveset potential, I mean, in all honesty, there's more to work with her than Pig Ganon.
It's
But
true.
having Ganon in the game in that design is just too much to pass up. Seeing Ganon playable in Smash in this form would be very much akin to seeing King K. Rool revealed for the first time in Ultimate,
Or Ridley.
or Ridley. And you know how you know how nuts I was during that King K. Rool reveal. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just hype. It's just wanting to see that in the game. I would love both of them. I would love a lot of Zelda characters that are in the game right now, but I choose Ganon.
Very well.
Hmm.
Ganon and Smash. Let's do it. Oh wait, we already did.
Yeah, on Smashtopia too. So I'll add the Ganon and Ganondorf submissions from Smashtopia to this episode in the description box on YouTube. And if you're listening over Spotify or anything else, just look it up on Google, Smashtopia Ganon, and you'll find it.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. That's how I just found it.
Nice.
Yeah. So on to our next matchup then.
So
Matchup number 2. Yes, sir.
for this match, for our previous match, we had two big icons of the Zelda reps, and in our first Smash Bros. Episode, we had two retro reps. And is it bad if I'm blanking on who our other matchup was in the first episode?
It was Octoling and Tom Nook and Mach Rider and Balloon Fighter.
Thank you. So our first episode had two characters that would be considered retro reps, two characters that would be semi clones. Now we just done two huge Zelda reps. And for our fourth Smash Dash pair, we have yet another completely different category of characters. Characters
Chucky
from
Finster.
franchises that have not
Oh.
yet had a playable character in Smash.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both
Ribbon
franchises that
Girl.
are
Oh.
okay. Well, jump the gun on me there. That I was gonna, build up the tease just a little bit more. But both these franchises, though, they're both more recent additions to the Nintendo lineup. One is a little bit older than the other, but one first appeared on the Switch. They're both
Mm-hmm.
not your typical game. We've got the rhythm game with Rhythm Heaven, but we've also got the arena punching fighter game that is Arms.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of these games necessarily has like a main character, so we kind of chose characters that we felt was closer to primary in terms of like promotional material and who's a little bit more of a face. But if I'm being honest, a lot of this matchup is going to be discussed on what could the mechanics from each game bring to Smash as far as a fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed.
So who do we
So
have from Rhythm Heaven to talk about?
we have Marshall from Rhythm Heaven. And who do we have from Arms to talk about? As if I didn't already say it.
Yeah, as if you didn't already say that it would be Ribbon Girl, not Springman, because well, let's be real, if we're gonna get an arms rep, it's gonna be one of the two. And if we had to get an arms rep, can we please pick the one that looks less boring?
Agreed. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so touching on Marshall's history a bit, there's not all that much to it, to be honest. Marshall looks pretty similar to characters who have been heavily rumored for Smash and Smashborn Ultimate, if you might recall. the chorus kids. Um, and so the design is quite derivative, except Marshall's a singular character, and honestly, don't know why there if there's any sort of correlation at all, because as far as I know, they never quite cross paths in Rhythm Heaven either.
Maybe they're the
More
same
so, Marshall.
species.
That's true, maybe. Marshall, actually, fun fact, according to some sort of Japanese encyclopedia, the source of Marshall's name comes from not him being some sort of prominent figure in the title, which he is. He does appear during Rhythm Test, which is kind of the tutorial mode of Rhythm Heaven games and Fever and Mega Mix, and he's become a face on the cover of Rhythm Heaven, the title screens of Rhythm Heaven. So that's kind of why we chose him for this matchup, because he's the ubiquitous face of the series, even though there's not really anyone that can take on that full main character uh, position. So it wasn't because of that at all, though. So it's not because he's the Marshal of his craft. He is named Marshall because he looks like a marshmallow.
Which is funny because apparently his Japanese name,
Is Matt.
yeah,
His
which
Japanese name is Marsh, but it's Matt in one game.
which is like, okay, Matt doesn't look like doesn't sound like a marshmallow at all. What?
I have a few friends named Matt. I'll ask them what they think about that. Address some Christmas cards this year to Marshmallow.
Oh god.
Um,
Dear
so he,
Marshmallow Matt, how are you? Have you been playing the
um,
Rhythm Heavens lately?
I am not kidding. That's exactly how I'm going to start a greeting to my friend Matt now. Anyway, um, Marshall's taken straight from the Rhythm Heaven wiki, just for the heck of it. Marshall's main role is greeting the player at the beginning of the game and explaining the rules of the game. So he's the first character in Rhythm Heaven, Fever, and Mega Mix that you meet. So that takes you a long way, and that's kind of where we again decided on the role. But there's not a whole lot more to Marshall than that, to be quite honest. It's more from what can he offer to Smash as a playable character, with his move set and with other parts of his build as a playable character in the game. So I have some thoughts. Marshall is a character I've wanted for a long time. I would say since the beginning of Smash 4's development cycle, when it was first revealed at the very least, when we were speculating about it early on, I was thinking, hey, Rhythm Heaven would be good. And especially when we got into that whole idea of there's a Rhythm Heaven enemy in what is the name of the game? Smash
Smash
Run?
Run.
Smash
It's
Run.
a sneaky
Yeah.
spirit.
Yeah, the Sneaky Spirits in Smash Run. So we thought, oh, there's a Rhythm Heaven enemy in there. Shouldn't there be a Rhythm Heaven character? That's where the Chorus
It
Kid rumor cropped up with Gamatsu.
plus the
Yeah.
sneaky spirit, not counting the polar bear, which came from the Ice Climber game, but the sneaky spirit
Hmm.
is the only enemy in Smash Run to come up from a franchise that does not have a playable rep in Smash.
Yeah.
Period.
So to that end, I do think it was probably highly likely that Chorus Kids or Marshall, because he looks so much like Chorus Kids, were one of those were being developed at a time for Smash. I'm not sure why they were ever removed, but that rumor has a lot of legitimacy to it.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so around that time, I was thinking, oh hey, Marshall would be easier to implement than Chorus Kids because he's just a solo character. Chorus Kids really just appear in a couple of mini games throughout the series. They're very notable characters, and I remember playing demos for Rhythm Heaven when it first came to the West, and Chorus Kids were like the first mini game you'd play in the demo. So they have their lot for fame as well, and legitimacy in getting into Smash. But so we're talking about Marshall, and Marshall, I would imagine, coming from a rhythm game, coming from the developers of WarioWare, he's going to have a bit of a random element to him. He's going to be a WTF character, if you will, like WFT, um,
Good
and
old Wii
and and
Fit.
the like. Yep. So and it's always interesting approaching this from the angle of Marshall is from Rhythm Heaven. Rhythm Heaven is a rhythm game. It's a music game. Uh, all the mini games are about keeping to a certain beat to get by. How do you incorporate that mechanic into Smash? It's not necessarily needed with every character, but I think with a rhythmic character known for rhythmic gameplay, that needs to be involved in some way.
Absolutely.
Um, so I was thinking about this, and even as an extra skill, if we're approaching this from Smashtopia, activate it or just have it be a part of unique skill that Marshall has, um, where you hit opponents to a certain beat with your standards, with your sides, and I mean with your specials, and you can rack up extra damage. So you can rack up status effects, and it would be difficult to latch onto because you have to hit to an internal beat. Like you're gonna have to, like, say Marshall punches. Maybe you'll get a time off with a metronome or a sound effect like that, like chimes go off, someone shakes snow bells, sleigh bells in the background, and then you're like, oh, okay, I landed a punch. And you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you hit and you approach it from that angle. You have a very basic rhythm that is a universal code for racking up combos with Marshall, and that's kind of what I was thinking in regards to that. Um, Otherwise, I would approach Marshall from just pulling from various mini games in Rhythm Heaven to make up all of his moves, his standards as well. But just kind of going more towards specials. You can derive from the chorus kids for sure. Having Marshall let out that gorgeous screech that they have coming from their gut, for sure, and have music notes fall from the mouths and everything like chorus kids do. But the benefit of Marshall is that because he's an ubiquitous character, you can pull from a lot more than just chorus kids. You can have Marshall uh, airboarding. You can have Marshall. Uh, Hell, you can incorporate other characters because Marshall's a tutorial character. You can have him incorporate something like the rhythm wrestler and reporter somewhere in his move set. You can have him bring in Miss Ribbon could be an alternate costume, probably. Maybe Cam could be an alternate costume. There is just a lot that you can pull from. Oh, and the Rhythm Girl, of course, too. There's a lot that you can pull into from Rhythm Heaven that pulls back to Marshall. With the rhythmic gimmick at the center, it would just be a fun character to play as. And that's my initial pitch.
So here's a question I have about Marshall. You mentioned how
Hmm.
it makes sense to have a rhythmic approach to how he fights, and I absolutely agree. But do
Oh,
you
yeah.
think that this rhythm pattern would be the same for any attack that starts the combo? Like if he does base a combo, is that going to be the 1, 2, 3? But if maybe he does an up smash, it's like a 1, 2, 3 or whatever another rhythm could be. I'm not a music guy, as we both know, so I'm not.
Hmm.
I don't really. I'm not up on rhythms, but
Hmm.
like I feel like I think a character like that could be a real good sort of tutorial for how to do
Hmm.
combos for people who kind of just like mash buttons and fight randomly. A character like Marshall can be like, hey, he's takes a little bit to learn him, but he's a good way to
Hmm.
learn. Hey, here's some easy combos that this character is built to teach you how to use. And
Hmm.
maybe he has one combo speed with one move, a completely different kind of combo with a different move. Maybe his aerials work some way. And I'm assuming that most of all of his moves are references to the various mini games. Like I think you said there was one
Hmm.
about snowboarding or something. And that would make sense to have him twirling around in the air with the snowboard for an aerial move.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I like that. At first I thought that we would just have that universal rhythm that would be in a way easier, so that way you're only approaching it from one angle. But if you approach it from the other angles, now that you mention it, that does sound like something that Sakurai would approach his development from. And definitely it would add another layer to the character. It would be nothing too over the top, but it would be a fairly a random fun character to play as, like similar in build and maybe even style to Mr. Game and Watch. And that's another thing too. If Marshall were included in the game, I think that we can approach him like Rhythm Heaven has such a nice style. I can presume that maybe he would come in that 2D hand drawn form. That would
Yeah.
be that would be fun. That would be nice. Similar in a way to if Cuphead were ever somehow in the game as an assistropia or anything else, we would want him in that style.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, yeah, yeah. So Yeah, I
Uh,
can see that.
an alternative to that idea as well is maybe it's not different attacks create different combos to build off of, but maybe
Hmm.
either as like an extra skill or a down special, he has rhythm swap. Similar to Shulk, where he
Interesting.
can swap between different stat boosts at a time, but Rhythm Swap would be like, okay, so your base default is that 1, 2, 3, but now you use Rhythm Swap and now it's like 1, 2, 3, or you use Rhythm
Hmm.
Swap again and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe have like I kind of think maybe three different rhythms is probably what you want to circle around for that kind of a concept, but that could
Hmm.
be you can really mix things up with that and
Yeah.
your opponent really won't know what's coming.
Hmm. That's yeah, that's a good idea. And you can always have it, no matter what the combo is, you have it linked up where if you land it successfully, a little chime goes off or another sound effect
Yep.
will let you know that you're on the rhythm. No, that would be a very good way to bring it in. One other thing I was thinking of, when people talk about Marshall in the community, they always come back to Nightwalk. So I wanted to touch on that too, which is just like the final credits for Rhythm Heaven Fever on the Wii, and it was an iconic to the series,
Mm-hmm.
where Marshall is floating around on a, not necessarily the entire time, but he's holding balloons on in the beginning, and jumps in, and he's hopping on platforms like Mario. There's a way that you can incorporate that into his Final Smash. I think just it's I'm not sure how you would quite start it, but just have Marshall on one side of the screen and have the entire floor become akin to Nightwalk in the game, and as he's moving up these platforms, opponents are damaged every time he hits a certain beat. Like you have to keep up with the rhythm of Nightwalk throughout the screen, and then it's similar to Pow Block when you jump on the platform, or maybe he's in a singular place. I'm not sure quite how it worked, but there'd be certainly the music track would come over, and you'd play to the rhythm, and then every time he lands a perfect rhythm, opponents are sent flying a little further, hurt a little more, or at least that's a basic idea, an idea that a lot of people have had, honestly.
The core idea being take Donkey Kong's Final Smash from Brawl and Smash 4 and make it good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Because
exactly.
holy crap, that was one of the worst. Got better in Smash
Hmm.
4,
Hmm.
but dear God.
Yeah, and then if there's ever a Funky Echo, they can give him a better version of that too.
Yes.
But I think unless there's anything that you have in mind for Marshall off the top of your head, I think we can give Ribbon Girl her fair shake too.
Before jumping to Ribbon Girl, there is one last thing that I really want to say about Marshall here, and it really builds off the idea I had for having him have a rhythm swap move. Is that if you do this rhythm swap and you give him like say three different kinds of rhythms that he can build off of, in a way you have three different move sets but with the same move set. It's just depending on
Hmm.
what rhythm you're going with is going to completely alter how Marshall would play, which could
Hmm.
make for a very interesting and versatile move set without changing anything about the move set, which is genius.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You just called yourself a genius, but you can't deny
I mean, I am a genius. We know this.
it. Okay, okay. Ribbon Girl, Ribbon Girl. What do you got?
All right, so Ribbon Girl. Before discussing really Ribbon Girl herself, I want to talk about Arms. So
Hmm.
Arms is I'd say third-person fighting game where you're fighting. It's an arena fighter, but you're essentially doing like over the shoulder of whoever you're playing as. Everybody
Hmm.
in the game has these stretchable limbs that they just punch out, and it goes all across the stage, with the exception for like two characters, where it's like one uses the robot suit and one of them has stretchy hair. I don't know. It's like okay, whatever, Nintendo. But the whole point of the game is that they have a boxing franchise, and
Hmm.
they fight each other with their extendable limbs, and everybody has three sets of what they call arms, which they can swap out. They can equip different ones for their fights, mix and match, and they're using these as their weapons. Every character has three different distinct arms that they use, but a lot of the arms are just elemental variances on the same idea. So
Hmm.
Ribbon Girl, for example, have Sparky, which is basically just like a regular old boxing glove, but it has the electric element added to it. She's got Popper, which is essentially like a party popper that you would pull out and shoot confetti from. But what this weapon does is it actually shoots out three projectiles that go farther away, and they kind of like twist around each other. And it's a little bit harder to dodge when three projectiles are coming at you at once. And the popper has the wind attribute on it. And then she's also got the Slapamander, which is really one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a longer glove. Well, this one has a fire element to it that kind of like snakes itself around the arena, trying to get around a character who's trying to be all sneaky and dodgy, and it just really slaps them across the face.
Let's get
But
slappy.
well, sure. But like those are the weapons Ribbon Girl uses. But then there's also Springman, who if I can bring up what he has real quick. Okay, so yeah, like Springman has Toaster, which is the same thing as Sparky, but it's fire. And he's got
Mm-hmm.
Boomerang, which shoots a boomerang. I mean, pretty simple there. And it curves through the air with a wind attribute. And he's got Tribolt, which shoots off like small electric little darts that will shoot back to his glove after they've been fired with a
Mm-hmm.
stun element added onto them. So all these characters have these different kinds of weapons that they use to fight each other with, and as you're playing the game, you can unlock more weapons to use with your character. So I could unlock the boomerang to use with Ribbon Girl. I could unlock the Slapamander to use with Springman.
Mm-hmm.
So each character has that little bit of individuality, but at the same time, any character can use any arms so long as they've unlocked them while playing the game. On
Mm-hmm.
top of that, the only other thing that makes characters unique at all to each other, besides their actual designs, is that each of them has an ability of sorts. Some of these abilities are quite a bit different from each other, such as Helix,
Mm-hmm.
a stretchy character, can, stretch himself really high. Why? I really don't know. He just can. But Ribbon Girl, honestly, despite the fact that I've chosen her for the Smasher Dash, her ability is one of the most boring. Basically, she's just better in the air. That's
Mm-hmm.
really it. She gets extra mid-air jumps. She can air dash twice, and she also has a fast fall to go back to the ground. Other characters don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that compares to Springman, who is really the only other most likely choice to be added into Smash from ARMS. And his abilities are just, oh, he has better parries.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Awesome. Both the main characters have the most boring abilities. Fantastic. Although, to be fair, Master Mummy is basically, oh, I have super armor.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
I think the best. No, you go on.
well, yeah, I have a bit more to say here. Don't just interrupt me too yet. But like all the arms fighters,
So
they
Chucky
have these.
Finster.
No, they all have these different punches, but they can block, they can grab you, they can grab and then do a combo. They can dunk you in a basketball hoop because apparently that's a mode in the game is playing basketball with arms. Like
Ooh.
okay, yeah, not great. But that
Mm-hmm.
Ribbon Girl herself, there's not a whole lot to her that really distinguishes her from the other characters. And none of the other characters really have much that distinguishes them beyond like some of them have better unique abilities. I did a moveset for her on Smashtopia, and if I'm being honest, it was one of the hardest movesets I put together. Just because, for one thing, I was having trouble envisioning how her long punches would work. But on top of that, there just didn't feel like there was a lot to her that made her that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Your take.
My take is the best thing that Ribbon Girl has going for her might arguably be the fact that she has a Santa outfit.
What?
Yeah, yeah. There's a Santa style outfit that she has that you can wear in the game.
I'm seeing artwork, promotional art of her in a Santa outfit,
Mm-hmm.
but when I'm looking at what her actual skins are in the game, no, they are all recolored just like every other character. Where are you seeing actual Santa outfit in game for Ribbon Girl?
The Arms Wiki.
I'm looking at the ARMS wiki.
No, it doesn't. It says right off the top. Oh, other outfits she wears includes a long sleeved white shirt, an outfit modeled after Santa's, dark gray pajamas. I'm like, what? No, trust me. I
Oh, okay. I see where you're looking under the appearance section. That doesn't
yeah.
say that's in game though, because like looking at the promotional arts down at the bottom of that page, you see
Hmm.
her in a Santa outfit, and you see her wearing these other clothings and
Oh,
like
okay.
casual wear. But her in-game
Great.
outfits, she's only got four.
Got it. Well, in Smash, you can have those four standard outfits, and then maybe you can include these more promotional outfits, kind of like how we've got some out there outfits in the
Oh
past
hell
that
yeah,
uh
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, I'm down
yeah,
for it.
absolutely. Other than that, really, what's on Ribbon Girl's side is just having the unique uh, ability to have all that far reach
Yeah.
with the arms. When I'm thinking about that, how you can angle the arms in certain directions, probably with just even standard moves. It could be an interesting character to take on. Learning how to maneuver with these stretchy limbs is would be unique to the game. There would be enough to differentiate her from a bruiser like Little Mac for sure. A far more technical character, but nothing too crazy at the same time. Um, other other than that, in all honesty, there's to me not too much going for her. She has a nice design, certainly more panache than Springman. Uh, Swapping between Sparky, Popper, and Slapamander, I would imagine would be a good extra skill for her, and
Mm.
that could change up her moves quite a bit. Where you can have the Slapamander to maneuver around and slap people with some fire effects, or the Popper or the Sparky. They all can work very similar to how they will in Arms. But I'm just thinking back to Arms when I played it, and just thinking about how it's one of the only Switch games. I think the only Switch game actually that I've actually let go of.
It
And
honestly did not
yeah.
do well with its sales.
Hmm.
Comparatively speaking, they tried hyping it up much like they did with Splatoon, and it had a similar release model that they did for Splatoon 1 and for
Hmm.
Splatoon 2. Which, great, I love that they did free content for it and a whole bunch of extra characters.
Hmm.
But the game, it just didn't take off as well. And I don't know if it's because of marketing, or if it's just because of how the controls were, or there wasn't proper balancing with it, or the fact that they added the
Yeah.
basketball mode as a required mode in the campaign, or if maybe the game just wasn't good. I'm not
I
sure, but they were.
Yeah.
I think it was a variety of things that caused the game not to perform as well.
Yeah. For me it was just gameplay. It
Yeah.
it it, it wasn't. They were never going to grasp players like they did with Splatoon with a 1v1 game to begin with, but especially when it's it's a pretty bare bones experience like Arms is when you break it down to the standard gameplay.
Yep.
It's not a fun loop in my opinion, and that's so I have a kind of sour taste in my mouth, but I still do appreciate some of the characters from Arms, like Miss and Go and Ribbon Girl and Helix. I appreciate their designs. I appreciate them. Uh, and I can appreciate her being playable in Smash. It wouldn't be my top choice for a new franchise. I kind of feel like we're probably not going to see Arms ever again. Um, so I'm not really entirely sure if she'll ever get her chance now that she hasn't had it in Ultimate.
Right.
But even now with additional DLC, I think that Arms has had its time, and we've seen that it's just kind of fallen to the wayside. So I'm not extremely hyped about her, and I think we had some great discussion about Rhythm Heaven, and you've helped me flesh out an idea to bring Marshall into a greater space. So right now I'm leaning Marshall, but I don't want to jump ahead of myself like I did with Tetra versus Ganon. I just want to hear if you have any other sort of discourse to present that might lean this any other direction.
So what I'll say first with Rip and Girl is since we whenever move set for Ganon that we had put on Smashtopia, and we've done that priorly with Balloon Fighter as well, I figured I'd go over what we have on Smashtopia with her as well.
Hmm.
So first of all, for her extra skill, we do have an arms exchange type move where she starts out default with the Sparky weapon, which has electrical properties to it. And I'm trying to look at this. It has higher attack power of her three arms, but the range is considered medium in comparison to the three. Then she's got
Hmm.
the Popper, which has the shortest range, and its attack power is in the middle of the three of them as well. It has wind properties, and it will cause a wind box effect to occur when it makes contact with something, or when it reaches its max range, it can just push items or enemies away.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, her third arm is the Slap Commander, which has the longest reach of her three arms, but also the lowest attack power. Had to balance it somehow, but it also comes out faster than both of the other two arms, and it comes with a fire element as well, which increases a small burst of fire when it comes into contact with something. So her standard special move is just Extendable Punch. Very basic. She just, extends one fist forward for a punch. But it's the longest
Mm-hmm.
reaching melee attack in the game. Sorry, Belmont Bros, but your whips get beat with this one. You can charge up the move, but it does not increase the range of the attack. Instead, it just increases the damage, both in
Mm-hmm.
terms of percent and in knockback. Default is, of course, Sparky, and if Kirby were to absorb Ribbon Girl, then for his version of the standard special, he would only have the Sparky.
Got it.
Side special is Ribbon Twirl, which is very, very similar to Mega Man's dash attack being Top Spin, where she spins around with ribbons flirting around her, except,
Mm-hmm.
it's a side special and not, dash attack. But that's
Mm-hmm.
really only it. Opponents get minuscule damage, but it is multiple hits, so they can be carried along with her, taking multiple hits of damage. Up
Mm-hmm.
special I have as Hoops Dunk, which a small version of the Firebomb item from ARMS will appear. Ribbon Girl will grab it, she'll jump up in the air, and then she'll spike it downwards. Well, not necessarily spike it, but she'll toss it down, and on impact with a platform or another fighter, boom, fire, explodes. Which, now
Mm-hmm.
that I'm thinking about it, is kind of similar to what we came up with for Gengar's Shadow Ball.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Well then. Oops. For her down special, I call it block and charge. So her arms
Mm-hmm.
will be crossed in front of her. This is basically like a counter type move. She's getting ready to block an attack, and let's see here. If she is attacked with it, she will charge up some energy, and there will be a small gauge displayed next to her damage. If she charges
Mm-hmm.
up enough energy, she can expend it. But if she holds up the shield for too long, it'll go from blue to red, and then break, and you can't use
Mm-hmm.
the move for a short time. When you charge up the gauge, uh, you only need to take about 25% damage to the shield. And when she uses it, the very next time she uses Extendable Punch, you do not need to charge it at all. Just a simple tap, and the move will be as strong as it can possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
So it boosts up her standard there a little bit. Her Final Smash is really the super attack that all ARMS characters have, because they all have the same one, really. Rush. She gets
Mm-hmm.
a yellow aura around her, and she just starts doing crazy, rapid, long-range punches. Depending on the arms, it'll have like a slightly different effect. It's
Mm-hmm.
really just like a more focused. I'm trying to. It's more like it's more or less like a beam Final Smash, except she's just punching really fast, really far. That's
Oh,
really
got
it.
it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Um, and one other thing that I thought of while you were talking about that would be a benefit to her character is that her special skills in arms, although they aren't like the most exciting, would be easily translatable into Smash.
Oh,
So she would,
absolutely.
yeah. So that fast fall down, having I think 4 total jumps, that's all stuff that could be to the benefit of the character in Smash and add a little bit of extra gusto to playing as her. That would make her more fun. What I think, as far as detriments go, rather, would be like you've come up with a good move set that works for her, but at the same time, a lot of it is fairly basic, if that's fair to say, where
No,
you
that's
have
fair.
a where you have her extended punch being a standard special. It works. It's what she does. But then you think about what would happen with her standard moves. They would all pretty much just be
Shorter range.
variations of punches we've already seen that are shorter range.
Yep.
So we've pretty much expended that. Whereas with Marshall, you have a barrage of mini games across an entire franchise of games to pull from to build out a standard move set. So there is that. Um, Other than that, I don't really think I have much more to say on Ribbon Girl. How about you?
The only thing I have more to say is what I would want to say when making my vote.
That you are the great president of this United States.
I hope not.
Okay. Well, what was it that you're going to say instead then?
Well, are we ready to move on to selecting who our winner is from this Master Dash?
I think so. I think so. If
Okay.
you're feeling confident about it.
So this is where I stand on it. On the one side, we have a character who is just one of multiple characters that could represent the same game. Well, okay, I said that, and that could apply to both characters actually. Now that I think about it, one of them is it's a mini game of mini games, very much like
Mm-hmm.
WarioWare. There's nothing that's truly unique to the character themselves. There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
truly unique to the Ribbon Girl character themselves when compared to everyone else. Oh, look, she has an extra mid-air jump. Cool. Oh, look, Marshall doesn't have a bow tie like the chorus kids.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. They both have this element to them, but I think what really differentiates the two of them for me, not even the fact that Ribbon Girl doesn't have a whole lot of unique coolness with what she can do as a fighter, whereas Marshall does. What it really comes down to for me is that Arms, in my opinion, was a failure. The game did not perform. People
Oh.
thought, I'm going there.
Mm-hmm.
The game was a failure. It did not perform to, I think, what Nintendo was really hoping for. It has its fans, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If you love the game, hey, go play the game. I did not enjoy the game. Neither did Jonno, from what he's been saying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only had 1 year DLC, and it really had a quiet finish. Whereas Splatoon 1 and 2 had big finales for them. They had like their
Mm-hmm.
weird like voting contest system as it was winding down. Sure, whatever. But Arms, I don't think we will ever see again. I do not
Mm-hmm.
ever see a world where we have an Arms 2. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people seem to think that when Ultimate was announced, that oh my god, we are guaranteed to get an Arms up. We are gonna get Freeman. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Like, and I'm just thinking to myself, guys. For one thing, the game wasn't that good. For another thing,
Mm-hmm.
Arms is too recent to have a playable character in Smash. These people thought we were guaranteed to get an Arms opening, that we were guaranteed to get Rex. Now, granted, we
Mm-hmm.
would have gotten Rex from Xenoblade 2 if it had released just a little bit sooner. But
Mm-hmm.
Arms came out even after that game. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. I might be
I'm not
wrong
sure.
that I think about it. I don't know. I don't have the timetable up. I kind of want to look it up though. Or actually, I
Mm-hmm.
really do want to look it up. Arms
I
release
think
date.
Arms came out before it.
Okay, Arms released June 16, 2017. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Mm-hmm. Because
But
Xenoblade 2 was like December.
yeah, December 1st, 2017. So Arms
Yeah.
technically might have been eligible, but the reason why I think Sakurai would never have picked Arms for Smash Ultimate is because at the time when he would have been completing the project plan for the game, it was a completely untested IP. Yes, we've gotten characters in Smash that were picked solely based off their concept art and before the game released. These were characters like Korin, technically had released in Japan. Well, I don't know if when he decided to pick Korin if it had released in Japan or not. But the game hadn't released in America yet. We got Roy. His game hadn't been released anywhere when Melee was released. And also
Mm-hmm.
Greninja and Incineroar were picked based off concept art before those Pokemon games were out either. Before those games were done. But
Mm-hmm.
that's Pokemon and Fire Emblem, two tried and tested franchises that are, well, granted, Fire Emblem has had its popularity wane a couple times, but Pokemon has been going strong from day one. So yeah, I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary to get a Pokemon rep chosen from before that game's even released. But a brand new game
Mm-hmm.
of an IP that's never existed, that you don't know how it's going to perform? Ha! Ha! Those people were kidding
Mm-hmm.
themselves. Let's be honest. Arms,
Yeah.
never going to see it again. Never going to get playable rep in Smash. I don't care to see a playable rep in Smash. I'm going Marshall. I don't care.
I almost want to play devil's advocate here, but I mean, yeah, we're going Marshall. That is pretty much all there is to it.
Yeah.
Arms was fun for a very brief period of time for me. There were too many problems with the game from just its initial makeup with all the characters being homogenous towards each other. Really, there's only so much you can do between having those swappable arms. It was even with all the new characters. It's a very samey game and a little too difficult with the with the computers
Screw
and
Ninjara. Screw him so
yeah,
bad.
exactly. It's just after a little while, you spend a few hours with it, you're like, "Oh, yeah, this is pretty cool, the characters are charming," kinda has this almost Overwatchy feel to it, but then it's like, "Eh," it becomes bland very quickly,
Yep.
in my opinion,
Like
so
I played it long enough to complete the championship with each of the base roster characters because
mhm,
completionist in me. I played a little bit of the online just to test it out, and I was just like, yeah, I'm done. I don't need to play this ever again.
yeah,
And it's like I know
exactly.
I know I'm harping a lot on the game,
Mhm,
and it's clear I did not enjoy it. And if you did, hey, that's great for you. Go play ARMS. If you want Ribbon Girl and Smash or Master Mummy or Twin Tail or whoever,
I would
cheer for
choose
the character you
Helix.
want. I would choose Kid Cobra out of actually no, I would choose Masango out of those. He's the one
Yeah,
that has the most uniqueness as far as I'm concerned.
mhm,
But it's like if you love the game, you love the game. No, I don't got an issue with that. But
mhm,
I just don't see it in Smash. I really don't. I don't see it working too well.
yeah,
We got a Spring Man Assist trophy, and you know what? I think that's all the game deserves.
and I
I'm
think
saying it.
there's even a chance that if we're cutting assist trophies in the next game, Springman could be out easily.
I mean, he could, but honestly, I would be okay with Spring Man sticking around because at least his assist trophy is different than some others. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he's got some
I'm fine
unique.
with it.
He works in a little bit of a unique way. I like his.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
works. And
Well,
they made him small, like little max size, to explain
mhm.
why he doesn't have crazy range. Which good.
Yep,
Certain other
yep.
assist trophies, like Cap'n, those can go.
Yeah, him and the
Ugh.
arcade bunny for sure.
Yes.
I hate assist trophies that and items in general too that are so cheap that if you get trapped in them, there's almost no chance of escape. I think with Cap'n, it's pretty much a guaranteed KO.
No. It's the worst thing about Cap'n isn't even that it's a guaranteed KO if you can escape, but even if you dodge out of the way and he misses, he goes off screen, he just keeps coming back and back
Mhm.
and back. The beetle item annoying, but once it's gone, it's gone. The arcade money only that claw is only going to come down a total of 3 times, and it's fairly easy to dodge. Cap'n, oh dear God, get the hell out.
Yeah, just move Cap'n up to playable and make that his final smash, why don't
Uh,
you? Yeah, coming at you with the next Smasher Desk, Cap'n versus Chucky. Okay, but with that said, there's always we're not hitting a tiebreaker this time around. It was a cool anomaly to have it happen with the first one, but I'm glad we're on the same page here.
yes.
Um, but really, there's always a chance for discourse and opinion. So if you want to jump into our Discord channel, Facebook, YouTube comments, jfrom.com, wherever you want to talk to us about what your thoughts are on the episode, please do. Please do help us out and chat with us and help our analytics by commenting. And tell us who you would choose if you were choosing between Tetra and Ganon or Ribbon Girl and Marshall.
Yeah.
And if you what was that?
I was about to say, like, well, we had a tie last episode, so we asked for tiebreaker votes. But just because we don't have a tie, doesn't mean you can't cast your own votes on which
Hmm.
characters you would like to see in Smash.
Yeah,
Please
exactly.
tell us who you would prefer, or if you think of additional arguments either for or against a character, we'd love to see
Hmm.
them. You can either send them to us by commenting on, as Jonno said, on JFrom or on YouTube. But we've got the Discord server as well. It doesn't have a whole lot of activity right now, but we'd love to have interaction with you guys. And any
Absolutely.
question that you had to ask, like, well, we had a viewer earlier this week that asked some questions that I enjoyed answering. It's like, yeah, please give us some stuff. I love that kind of communication and
Me too.
theorizing and speculating. That's what I love the most about Smash. Not even playing it. I just like coming up with ideas and theorizing on how things could work in the future.
I think we can both probably say that Smash speculation is one of the top three things that we think about.
Oh yeah,
Period. I
yeah.
mean, there's Smash speculation, then there's what do I eat and what do I drink?
And
The
then
end.
there's how would a Pokemon game work in Italy?
Oh yeah, there's that too. And
Hey,
we'll yeah.
I really want to make that into something.
Mhm. Mhm. There's been a lot of my mind that has been preoccupied by Rugrats lately as well. Well,
Gee, what a shocker! Since you're referencing Chucky in every other conversation we have for like the
Yeah,
past month.
don't feel too bad. It's not just in these episodes.
I know.
Well, coming next though is an exciting time for Supercast Brothers because we're going
Oh
to have our
yes.
first guest on, and we're going to take things back to the E3 presentation that changed everything, aren't we? By going back with Everyone is Here for our next on topic, a retrospective.
The best Smash trailer we've ever had. Which, to be fair, it was like 95% of the E3 trailer we had that year. It's like, oh hey, we have a
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo Direct for E3. It's got like 40 minutes of Smash Ultimate coverage and 5 minutes of everything else.
Yeah, I think we got like
Understandably
Super Mario
so.
Party, and it's like, eh.
Yeah, like understandably so. The non-Smash fans were pissed. I get it,
Mm-hmm.
but the Smash fans, we were living it up.
Oh yeah, that was the time to be alive. Holy moly! But enough about that for now because we got to save that hype for the next time when we bring our first guest on and the three of us talk at you with extreme enthusiasm.
Oh yes.
And in the meantime, I think that we have just about wrapped it up. So thanks for listening, uh, as always, and we hope to see you around next time. We're signing out.
Hang on, I gotta get my shovel. I'm digging a grave for arms.
Nice. Done. Done. What was the timestamp on that gaff?
The timestamp on the gaff was at about minute 53.
Okay.